Oh my god. I have not done this. I don't even remember the last time I did this. Hey, what's up everybody? It's Amaya. So, wow, it has been a little bit since I have filmed. I was planning on filming a video before I put this one up, and then life happened and work happened and holidays happened, and I have just been working so many hours. When I get home, I am so exhausted and I go right to bed and I wake up and do it again. And I have had no time nor motivation to film. But anyways, I am back today and we are going to be doing one of my favorite videos to film, which is the best makeup of the year video. So obviously, I'm going to be talking about the best products that I tried in 2020. These are not necessarily products that came out in 2020, but they are products that I discovered and I tried in the year of 2020. But I was able to pick 21 products. I thought it would be kind of fun to do 21 since we're going into 21 that I have just absolutely been loving this year, that I would totally recommend, and that I definitely think are going to continue to be favorites as we move into 2021. So yeah, that's what we're going to be doing today. Without further ado, let's just hop right into it, shall we? Okay, so I kind of tried to pick something from each category of makeup. Some of these things have more than one in the category, some of them have more than two in the category, and then some of them don't really have any because I wasn't able to find a product that really stood out to me this year. So we're gonna kind of do a mix of a little bit of everything, but I will try to go in the order that I would apply my makeup just to make it easy. So the first thing is primer, and honestly, I did not find a primer that I used all year that I really enjoyed. However, recently I did try this new primer, like within this past month, and I definitely think that it is the best primer that I have tried in 2020, and it shocked me. This is the Colourpop Pretty Fresh Hydrating Hyaluronic Acid Primer. So I actually heard about this primer from Smoky Glow on YouTube, and when she talked about it and how it was a hydrating luminous primer but it also was smoothing, I was super excited because I've been looking for a primer like that for so long. I have my First Aid Beauty Coconut Skin Smoothing Primer, which is good, but I find that it tends to pill on me a lot, especially if I have a moisturizer that's decently moisturizing underneath. And so I was really looking for a nice glowy hydrating primer that wasn't going to pill, and this one has been amazing. It looks beautiful with makeup and without makeup. I don't necessarily know how much it prolongs the wear of my makeup. I was just super shocked by this primer and I'm really excited to keep using it. I feel like even if you have a little bit more combo oily skin, you would enjoy using this because it's not super heavy and it's also not super shiny or anything like that. Just a nice luminous hydrating primer. Okay, so moving into foundation, I actually have two to talk about, and I think it's kind of funny because one of the ones that I'm going to be talking about has been on like everybody's least favorite makeup list, which is so weird to me because it's literally been my favorite. And this is the Covergirl Clean Fresh Skin Milk Foundation. I wore this constantly throughout the summer and then the fall because it just has such a lightweight, glowy quality to it. I don't know what it is about this, but it just looks so nice on the skin. A lot of people were saying that it breaks up on them. I have never had that issue. It's been always perfectly fine on me. This is my go-to lightweight, light coverage foundation. I don't know, I loved it. I love it, and I don't know why so many people hated it. It makes me so sad. Okay, the second foundation I have to mention will probably not come as a surprise to you guys because I've been talking about it a lot, and it is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Luminous Foundation. I think that I maybe have found my favorite foundation of all time. Honestly, this foundation just does everything that I want it to. It's lightweight, it's long wearing, it's glowy, it covers but not too much, doesn't look cakey. The shade range is also really nice. I love the packaging as well. It's glass and it feels very nice. It doesn't feel cheap or anything like that. It does get glowier throughout the day, but I find that when you put it on your face initially, it's not like this insane overly dewy finish where you feel like you're a grease ball. So good. I know it's a little bit more expensive, but I would definitely consider picking this one up. Okay, so I actually have two concealers to talk about as well, and the first one is probably the most surprising product to me this year because I would have never ever thought that I would love this product as much as I do. This is the Clinique Even Better All Over Concealer Plus Eraser. I would have never thought in a million years that I would have a Clinique product in my favorites of the year video. I don't know why, but Clinique has always just come across to me as like an old lady brand, and I know that's super bad and super judgmental and I shouldn't think about it like that, but it just does But since I've started working at Ulta and I have gotten to know the wonderful and amazing Clinique representative that we have, he has really turned me on to a lot of Clinique products and shown me that it's actually a really good brand with a lot of good products. It just gets overlooked because of its reputation. This has such a beautiful finish on it. It's a hydrating concealer without being creasy. It literally does not crease on me. I've used it without powder and it doesn't crease. It also has some vitamin C and hyaluronic acid in it, which helps with brightening and plumping the under eyes. You can build it up if you want. I would say it's a nice medium coverage concealer. It's just so perfect. They also have a really nice shade range, which is fantastic. I would highly recommend trying out this concealer. It's so good. So good, and it was so surprising. Okay, this next concealer was also a surprise because I had never even tried this brand before 2020. This is the KAJA Don't Settle Concealer. It is so lightweight and liquidy, which was a surprise to me. I didn't expect that, but it has a very, very liquidy, lightweight formula, but it is so smoothing and just unreal underneath the under eyes. I've never tried a concealer like it because it covers and it doesn't crease, and it doesn't settle into lines just like the name says, but yet it's so lightweight and it dries really fast. It's just the strangest concealer. It's so good though. Like, I really truly love it. I have seen it on the BoxyCharm add-on section, so if you're a BoxyCharm subscriber, maybe you can grab this during the add-ons. They usually have it for fairly cheap. If not, it is sold at Sephora and I believe on KAJA's website. It is so good. I was debating whether I should include a powder or not because all the powders that I've had have pretty much been powders that have been in my collection for a while, but I definitely have one that, even though it's been in my collection for a while, I haven't truly given it a chance until this year, and that is the Dermablend Loose Setting Powder. So this is one of those HD silica powders that I just totally steer away from. It's not as finely milled and silky and slippery as a lot of HD powders are, which I like because I actually find that those tend to look kind of dry and crepey underneath my eyes. This one, however, looks like nothing under your eyes. It just completely blurs and smooths everything, and it sets your concealer without looking powdery. I really like using this because a lot of times I don't want to look like I'm wearing a powder underneath my eyes. I've really steered away from using tinted powders recently and just using this. The tiniest amount of this does the trick, sets your makeup. I'm wearing it today actually underneath my eyes, on my forehead, nose, kind of T-zone area, and it just works so well. I'm really glad that I decided to try this out. Like I said, I've had it in my collection for years. I just have never bothered to give it a chance, but I'm really glad I did. Okay, so let's move on to bronzers, and by far the best bronzer that I have tried this year is the Too Faced Milk Chocolate Soleil bronzer. So I got this at Ulta's 21 Days of Beauty sale this past fall, and I wanted to try one of the Too Faced bronzers for a while because hello, it smells like chocolate. And I have heard good things about these bronzers, and I almost bought the regular chocolate Soleil bronzer, but I decided to go for the milk chocolate one, and I am so glad that I did. When you look at this next to my skin, you will notice it's very light. It is not normally something I would take to bronze. Like, let me just give you an example. Okay, so here's this Revlon Skin Likes bronzer, but just look at the difference in the shades of these, right? The reason why I like this one so much is because it is the perfect tone. So even though it's light, it has just enough coolness in it to make it work as a very natural looking contour. I feel like it bronzes my face and gives me warmth, but it also sculpts. It is so creamy and so smooth. This is one of the best bronzers that I have ever tried. It stole my heart, and I love it. Okay, so I don't have a blush because I feel as though I've just kind of used a lot of the same blushes, and even though I did try a couple new ones, nothing has stood out to me as being super spectacular. So we're gonna skip over blush for this year. However, I do have a highlighter. This is the Benefit Cookie Highlighter. So again, this is another thing that I picked up during 21 Days of Beauty, and I am so glad that I listened to the hype and picked this up. Oh my God, this highlighter is so beautiful. I mean, it is definitely a light highlighter, but it doesn't have a ton of back pigment to it. So it really just comes off as a beautiful, glowy, kind of champagne-y highlighter with a slight pink tone to it, which is something different for me. I normally don't have highlighters that have pink tones, but this one just looks so good. I normally use this over top of another highlighter, so I don't usually just use this on its own because it is a little bit too light for me. I usually use a more like golden tone highlighter and then put this just on the very tops of my cheekbones for a little extra pop. I absolutely love this and I'm so glad that I picked it up. Highly recommend it. Okay, so let's move on to eyes, shall we? We'll start with eyebrows. And I honestly, I can't remember if I mentioned this in my last year's video or not. And if I did, I'm sorry, but I just have to mention it again. This is the Wet n Wild retractable brow pencil. It's called the UltimateBrow. Oh my God, this is the only brow pencil I ever use. I have like 3 other ones, and while they are okay, this one is just my favorite. I think I've gone through like 3 or 4 of these this year. It is so fantastic. I really like it because it has that kind of triangular tip similar to the brow definer from ABH. Anytime you see me with eyebrows on, this is what I'm wearing in my brows along with a brow powder. It just wears so beautifully throughout the day. I have mine in the shade medium brown, but I also find the shade ash brown works for me. I do not even bother trying brow pencils now because I just know that this one is so good. I love it. And again, I can't stress how affordable it is. It's so good. You can't beat the price. Can't beat the price. Okay, so for eye primers, I actually have 2. I was on the hunt for some good eyeshadow primers this year, and the number one that I have to mention is the e.l.f. Putty Eye Primer. This one I absolutely love. I know that it's kind of supposed to be a dupe to the MAC Paint Pot. I haven't personally tried that one, so I can't tell you if it is a dupe or not. I believe it's in the shade Cream. Yes, Cream. It is so nice, but they do have a lot of other shades. They even have a black one and a white one, which is awesome if you want to do a very dramatic look. I also have it in a brown shade that I use all over my lids for just a nice wash of color, almost like a cream shadow. I like to apply it with either a finger or a brush, and you just kind of pat it on. It is a little bit dry, so if you have drier eyelids, I would not recommend it. But my eyelids are so freaking oily because it is kind of like a putty, almost clay-like texture. Just smooths out my eyelids and makes my eyeshadow last. I also like that it has a little bit of pigment to it, so it cancels out any redness, any veins, everything like that. Don't be scared by the fact that it is a little bit dry. If you find that it's getting a little dried out, just start using it with your finger and that'll help warm up the product on your eye. But honestly, so good. Okay, the next one is such an old product, but I have just really started getting into it this year. And this is the Urban Decay Primer Potion. If I am going to be wearing my eyeshadow for a very long time, or I want something that's really going to make my eyeshadow stick, I will go for this one as opposed to the putty primer, just because I find that this one makes my eyeshadows last a little longer. I know that this is definitely an older product, but I really do think that it's a staple and people should definitely not forget about it. So good. Okie dokie, so let's move on to eyeshadow palettes, shall we? I actually have 2 to mention, and the first one is gonna make a lot of people upset because this is a palette that you can't get anymore. But this is the ABH Sultry palette, and the reason why I had to mention this as my favorite eyeshadow palette of 2020, even though I have tried so many, is because this one shocked me. So this palette I bought purely, I'm gonna be honest, for the outside packaging and for the fact that it was on sale and I'd heard good things about it, but the color story did not really appeal to me. However, this has become one of my go-to palettes. I have always been a warm tone girl, even when I started makeup, and I think that has to do with the time period when I started doing makeup, 2014, 2015 time, which is right when we were starting to get into that whole Morphe 350 orange red craze. But now as we're shifting back to neutrals and cool tones, I find myself kind of wanting to experiment with that style. And I find that this palette is the best for doing so. And these shimmers in here are amazing. Like, I don't usually use shimmers in palettes. I usually go for a Colourpop eyeshadow or a glitter, something like that. But these ones have just been amazing. They are so creamy and just so... Let me just show you. I mean, they are so foiled. Like, oh my God, the reflectiveness is amazing. They look great wet or dry on the lids. They're so good. It shocked me. I am so glad to have this in my collection. I just love wearing it. It's fantastic. And again, the outer packaging is such a plus. Such a plus. I love it. Totally surprised me. Didn't think I'd love it, but I did. And then the second one is just a product that I have mentioned so much, and I just have to give it another mention. It's the Baked Browns palette by Dose of Colors. I use the crap out of this palette. This is my go-to palette whenever I just need a nice neutral brown eye look that's just gonna look really nice and can blend really fast, and it's just so easy to use. You have a nice gradient here of the shadows. I normally just kind of go with these two and then put some of this in the outer corners. It's just such an easy palette to use. I really like the formula of this as well, so I would check out this one. If you don't like this one, Dose of Colors has a lot of other color stories that you can check out, but overall, such a good palette, such a go-to. Okay, and I do have a single shadow to mention. This is the Colourpop eyeshadow in the shade Cherish. Now, I'm not sure if you can still get this one. I'm not sure, and I apologize for that. But it is so stunning. It is like a brownish rose gold, kind of like a bronzy rose gold, and it is the most beautiful, glittery, pigmented. Oh my god, I love this shadow so much. I can literally put this with any eye look or even just on the eye itself, and it gives you such like a bronzy, smoky goddess effect. Oh my god, it's so pretty. I will try to link down below one on Colourpop's website that's similar, so hopefully you can get a kind of similar vibe. But this is what it looks like for reference if you have anything like that in your collection. Just looks so beautiful on the eyes and literally works on like every eye color, which is great. Okay, now I do have kind of an odd product that I'm going to mention. This is an eyelash glue, okay? And I did not think that I'd be putting an eyelash glue in here because I feel as though, unless it's really, really bad, they kind of just do the same thing. But I have to give a shout out to the Velour Lashes Lash Adhesive. This is the clear one in the white tube. This is so good. It makes my lashes stay all day, especially when I'm working shifts at Ulta, maybe like 8-hour shifts and I'm wearing lashes. I find that it's really hard to find a lash glue that makes your lashes last for a long time. This one totally does. It also comes off really easily, which is something that I have been looking for in an eyelash glue, because while I like my House of Lashes one, despite the smell, I like the House of Lashes one, but my biggest gripe with that is that it leaves a lot of residue on my eyelashes and it takes several days to actually get off. Even when I use an oil cleanser, it just leaves so many gunky bits behind. This, however, doesn't do that. I might have a couple little pieces of residue, but they usually come off after washing my face twice, and I find that I am able to wear lashes one day and then wear mascara the next day without having weird clumpy bits on my eyelashes, which is something that I have been looking for forever, and I have found it in this lash glue. Okay, so I also have mascara to mention, and this is a super new one as well. I've tried it in the last month, but I'm very picky with mascaras, which is why I feel like I need to mention it. I really only use my Benefit Roller Lash, and then I'll use, you know, maybe another mascara on top, but it's usually nothing insane or, you know, exciting enough to write home about. But this Lancome Lash Idol mascara, this is amazing. This is such a good mascara, and this is the only mascara that I have found that competes with my Benefit Roller Lash. I'm not even kidding. No other mascara has been able to compete with that one except for this. It has a little bit of a curve to it, which I really like in my mascara brushes, and the formula is so good. It's definitely an in-between of a wet and dry formula. It's not necessarily as wet as the Roller Lash is at first, but it reminds me of how the Roller Lash is when you've been using it for like a month and it starts to get a little bit more dry from getting air in it. And it just has such a beautiful volumizing effect, yet it's lengthening, it's not clumpy, it makes my lashes look so good, and it doesn't transfer onto the tops of my lids, which is something that I find happens a lot with certain mascaras. The biggest thing is that it adds volume to my lashes without making them look clumpy or like spider lashes. It's so easy to use. You can just keep building and building and building it, and it does not look clumpy, yet it is adding volume. It's so good. Lancome, you did it. It's amazing. Okay, now I have a setting spray, and the reason why this is in here is because it is literally the only setting spray that I have used the entire year. Like literally, this is the only one. This is the Ofra Makeup Fixer. So if you are looking for a makeup setting spray that's gonna be good, that's gonna work really well, and that you're really gonna only have to buy once a year, I would highly recommend this one. And the reason for that is there's 8 ounces in here. 8 ounces, okay? I literally just ran out of this last month, and I got it for Christmas last year. So that's crazy. I do find that it makes my makeup last longer without drying out my skin and without making me look greasy or weird. If you're looking for a setting spray that you want to use but you don't feel like buying a ton throughout the year, this is the best bang for your buck, because I think it's like around like $12 to $16, something like that. Very affordable for the amount that you're getting in here, and you only have to buy it like once a year. So like, the heck, right? I know. So awesome. totally unexpected as well. All right, I have 3 more things to mention. The first one is a lip product, and I have not been using lip products unless I am filming this entire year, because where have I had to go? I've been wearing a mask, like what the heck? But if I am filming and I have a glossy lip on, this is the product that I'm using. This is the Alamar Cosmetics, what is this called? Birthday Suit Lip Gloss. Now, the one thing that makes me really upset is I don't believe you can get this from Alamar anymore, which I don't know why. I think that they're kind of revamping some of the products from their line. However, if their other lip glosses are the same formula, they're amazing, okay? So the first thing, this lasts for a long time. I've literally worn this after I'm done filming and I'm going to go eat lunch or something, and it lasts through that. It's not sticky, it is so comfortable, it gives your lips such a beautiful glossy sheen without those weird stringy things. It doesn't give you the line on the inside of your lips, which I hate. And the color on this one is just so beautiful. It's like a light pink with some sparkle in it, but it's not super pigmented. So as you can see there, it's just kind of, you know, it has some pigment to it, but it's not like an opaque pigment. It also doesn't make your lipstick break up underneath it, which is a pet peeve of mine when it comes to lip glosses. I hate it. This one doesn't do that though. It's so good, and if you can't find this one, hopefully their other glosses are the same formula. I hope, because they're amazing and I don't know why they would change it. All right, so the last 2 products that I have to mention are body products. The first one I don't actually have with me, but this one I do, and this is such an old product, but I just discovered it this year and it has been a savior. This is the Sally Hansen Water Resistant Airbrush Legs Spray. This is in the shade Deep Glow. This is the deepest one that they have. This is amazing, okay? If you want to have a beautiful tan when you're going out, but you don't feel like self-tanning, you don't feel like going out and sitting in the sun, you don't feel like getting a spray tan, but you still want that beautiful bronzy glow, I highly recommend this. This is so good. It is honestly amazing. The color is really nice as well, so even though this is pretty dark, I find that it looks really natural. Let me see if I can spray a little bit on my hand. Okay, there we go. That's like obviously a very concentrated amount of it. Okay, so that is a very concentrated, heavy swatch of it. It does not look like this when it's blended out across your skin, of course. It makes you look like a literal goddess, and it's so cheap. You can find this at Walmart. It's a product that you can really pretty much get anywhere. I love this, and I've had it for a while. I want to say since the spring, and I'm like maybe halfway through this, and I use this probably at least 2 to 3 times a month whenever I'm going out, whenever I just want a little bit of a glow to my chest, maybe my self-tan's wearing off and I need to kind of cover up some patches. This is my go-to. It's so nice. So just be careful if you're wearing white clothing. This will transfer, but it does wash out of clothing, which is good. All right, and then the last product I have to mention today is actually a cleansing oil, and this is the Purito From Green Cleansing Oil. I ran out of this late summer and I have not repurchased it because it's really hard to get. It is a Korean brand. I've been using other cleansing oils and cleansing balms in the interim, and nothing has compared to this one. It is an olive oil based cleansing oil, so if you're not a fan of those, or maybe you kind of have a reaction to those, I would maybe steer away from it, but it just takes off my makeup so nicely. It feels really nice on the skin. It didn't break me out. Really just a great cleansing oil. And it's the first cleansing oil that I've actually tried and really, really loved. I do wear a lot of makeup, so I need something that's gonna really take care of my skin and just make everything come off. And I use another facial wash over top of it, but just for taking off makeup, this one is fantastic. Okay, you guys, so that is it. Oh my gosh, that is all of my favorites from the year of 2020. I hope you guys like it. Please give it a big thumbs up. Comment down below some of your favorite products from 2020 or what you think of these ones. If you want to try them, if you have any comments, questions, concerns, let me know as well. And yeah, I will see you in my next video. Mwah.